Good morning. I think it is now at 11, rather 10:38 Eastern time. So I don't know what time zone you're on, if you're on Eastern time, Mountain time, Pacific time, some other time, still sleeping. This is the introduction for our 10:38 Eastern time speech called Why Dream Big. I could explain what that "Don't Be Bruce" is too a little bit later. So if you do tune in, feel free to put something in the chat. That's the comments if you're listening on my Facebook profile or my Facebook page or on YouTube. So the way to get to YouTube is you can go to omgtalk.com. That's omgtalk.com to get to YouTube and watch it streaming over there, or rather, you are streaming over there because that's the only way you're probably listening to this right now, unless it's a recording later on. But if you see the live button, then we are live here from Southeast Florida. Let me just give you a little introduction before I put myself up there on the video, because every good speech deserves a good introduction. So if you're a speaker and you're not getting a proper introduction, maybe tell your organization it's okay to have about a 3 sentence or so introduction that sets up every wonderful speaker. Today's speech is no different. Paul Finkelstein is a very popular name. There are over 50 Paul Finkelsteins on LinkedIn with the exact same first and last name. This Paul Finkelstein, though, doesn't like to stay in the lines because he likes to think bigger than that. How about yourself? Do you like to think bigger than that? I'd love to find out. Unless you are okay with the status quo, mediocrity, never getting a raise from your job or business or portfolio, you're retired and you don't want your income to get a raise as well, no cost of living adjustments, then you'll definitely be bored of this entire presentation for 5 to 10 minutes. You'll definitely not be interested in entrepreneurship. You'll find this talk extremely, very, very boring. But I do invite you to have a big open mind to some new concepts for you, if that's yourself, um, in this short 5 to 10 minute talk. More like 10 minutes, so you could listen to the rest of it later and maybe catch the first 5 minutes. Paul Finkelstein, dream big. Dream big, Paul Finkelstein. And this is the part where we actually invite you to applause, but I really can't hear it. I could put an electronic applause. Those are cutesy. But you could applause right there as well. But why should you dream big? And maybe I should come onto the stage so that you can now see me. Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Finkelstein, and I am a dream big kind of person. How about yourself? So the disclaimer you just heard. So if you didn't hear the disclaimer, I'm not going to say it again. But if you catch the recording, I will. Or maybe I should tell you, here's a second warning. The warning is this: unless you're okay with the status quo of mediocrity, never getting a raise from your job, your business, your portfolio, your income, wherever it is, Social Security, or maybe you're younger, maybe you're older. If you don't want to raise, no problem. You don't have to listen to this at all. Nobody's making you stay here. So don't listen to it because you're definitely going to be extremely bored and not interested in entrepreneurship. And you'll find this talk extremely boring. Now we can continue. So why dream big? Let me talk to you about where I began and where I started. I did start mowing lawns when I was in high school. My dad got a lawnmower. He had this lawnmower sitting in the garage. He didn't feel like mowing the lawn. And he said, Paul, why don't you mow the lawn? You might like it. And you know how it is when you get some kind of new piece of technology like a lawnmower, and dad says, hey, you could mow the lawn and maybe I'll even pay you a little bit for it. You'll get a little bit of allowance money by doing some effort and learn the discipline of work, which I'll be talking about is included in one of the 6 curse words for amateur entrepreneurs. Are you an amateur entrepreneur? Raise your hand. There are 6 curse words that amateur entrepreneurs let that be their hang up from beginning to run or start a business. These 6 curse words for amateur entrepreneurs. But I did this lawn mowing business up and down a couple of streets where I lived in Rockland County, New York, north of the George Washington Bridge. And some people think north of the George Washington Bridge is Canada. It's not Canada. It's still in New York State. But that's where I grew up a long time ago, more than 30 years ago. Now I'm safely here in Southeast Florida. because that's where old people go. Uh, but I don't consider myself old. I should preface that some friend of mine for my birthday got me this certificate. I'll read it to you. It says Certificate of Antiquity. Thank you so much for that. This document certifies that Paul is a super old and that their boundless energy, youthful glow, and zest for life should be disregarded. What do you mean disregarded? What do you mean by that? I still have dreams and I dream big. Are you in that category, or are you in the younger category and you're looking for the perfect business, or you're looking for a reason to think big? Well, this document does further entitle the bearer to eat pudding, complain about kids these days, claim the comfortable chair, the lazy boy. I never had a lazy boy chair, by the way. We just got a sofa that the feet raise up. Where was that all my life? How many people here have one of those? You could put something in the comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about that. And finally, let's get on with the rest of our talk because it could get interesting as well. So when I was lawn mowing, that lawn mowing business or part-time gig or borrowing my dad's lawnmower, he encouraged me and inspired me to mow our lawn because he did not want to do it. Surely he didn't want to do it because I could appreciate that. Now I don't want to mow the lawn as well, but I can appreciate saving bucks as well. And I'll mow that lawn so I don't have to spend maybe double and triple the amount to do it. Just to put on a hat and some suntan, and then you're good to go, and have some water on the side so you stay hydrated. But you can't mow the lawn in the wintertime. Go figure. So it's not a very good business in the winter. So what did Dad do? He encouraged me to use the snowblower in the wintertime. And he didn't want to use the snowblower, but he knew that the snowblower would let me get through the driveway, would be lengthy to get that done as well. But in the lawn mowing business, there was all kinds of challenges in that. It's the capital to invest and reinvest in equipment, keep up the equipment, insurance, lawn bags, blowers, leaf blower, rakes, employees. The snowblower business is dependent upon the summer. And when we got through the summer, then you made money in the winter. But then Paul also did this other business. And how he stumbled across this business was in his junior year in high school. There was somebody in high school that did not want to go to work one day because he had a date. And he had this very important job at the Cricket's Italian restaurant in New City, New York. Anybody heard of Cricket's Italian restaurant? It's no longer there, but Cricket's Italian restaurant is not exactly your typical Italian name. We got to go to Cricket's restaurant. Now I'm sounding like Dracula. I'm trying to come up with an Italian accent, but I can't exactly do it. But I didn't know what the job was, but I said, hey, I'll make money. It was probably my first ever job ever, was in my junior year in high school. Legitimately, I filled out one of those green little cards that said I could work when I was 16 or 17 years old. I didn't know what it was, but I got there. I found out I was going to be the most important job in that Italian restaurant, which was cleaning the dishes, running the commercial dishwasher. And what was my food? My food was sheep food, basically. My food was food. I worked for food, literally, but at the same time, I did get about $20, $40 in cash. I worked till all hours of the evening. It was the restaurant business. I got done at 2 o'clock in the morning. And they said, what would you like to eat? And I said, of course, my grandfather's favorite meal was veal parmesan. I love veal parmesan. And I said, I'll have a veal parmesan. And they said, I only thought I was going to work that night because my friend was taking off so he can go on a date. I wonder if he's married that date, or he's been on several dates after. It'd be really fun to find out if that was the date that he married. Who knows, right? I should look him up and ask him, right? Google it, right? I think his name was Darren Press. If you know Darren Press, or Darren Press, if you're out there, he was on our soccer team with me as well at high school. If you married the girl that you went on the date with, that you had me go to wash dishes, the most important job of that Cricket's Italian restaurant, let's hear about that. But that food, that pay was sheep food, because, I mean, you can't really keep people there. But if you really entice them with something really irresistible like veal parmesan, they offer me a job to come back. Did I really want to wash dishes again? I didn't know if I really cared. It was the second day. All I was thinking about was the food. And it was like the cooked frog analogy. And what's a cooked frog analogy? I mean, how do you cook a frog? But you certainly don't throw the frog into the water, right? And he's not going to stay there. You got to turn the heat up slowly. So they turned the heat up slowly with that job. And they gave me veal parmesan. The next day they gave me veal parmesan. Next day they gave me veal parmesan. I kept washing dishes and washing dishes and washing dishes. Let me ask you this really important question. Millions of people want their own business. Millions of people want big dreams. And why is it that they want big dreams? Is it the freedom? Is it the freedom to dream big? And why do people dream big? Let me digress and talk about those 6 curse words that amateur entrepreneurs are always talking about. The first one is mediocrity. I'm not really talking big length about mediocrity. I think most people understand it. They can Google it, they can chat GPT it, they could AI it, whatever they want to do. But when I think of mediocrity, I'm going to do it in sound effects. This is what I think about mediocrity. I'm really snoring. I'm totally bored. It's mediocre. Yeah, that's the first curse word for amateur entrepreneurs. They're stuck in mediocrity. And then the second curse word for amateur entrepreneurs is tired. I'll talk about tired a little bit later, and a word that precedes tired, but tired is a word that amateur entrepreneurs use. I'm tired. I don't feel like it. And here's your sound effect that I think about for tired. Yeah, that's the sound effect I think about for tired as well. And then also here's the third curse word for amateur entrepreneurs, and that is comfortable. I could tell you a whole speech about comfortable. I'd love to tell you about that speech about comfortable. Maybe I'll even add it into this speech to make it even a longer speech from about 5, 10 to 20 minutes by adding in a comfortable speech. I love that speech. I love the 2 different stories that talk about the word comfortable and what that means. Ask me and put a comment or email me at wow@omgtalk.com and tell me, Paul, tell me about the comfortable story. So that's the third curse word for amateur entrepreneurs. The fourth curse word for amateur entrepreneurs is procrastination. And here's how I describe procrastination in a little short sound effect. I know that should be the tired one, but really the procrastination one is, you're just lazy. You just don't feel like doing it now. You put it off for another time. It's a big yawn. And then the fifth and sixth curse words for amateur entrepreneurs are work and effort. Work, effort, work, effort. They're curse words. So I'm saying it to like it's a curse word. I wouldn't say a curse word here because my wife wouldn't let me. But all curse words, these are amateur curse words for entrepreneurs. But I'm going to be talking about a cash flow quadrant written by Robert Kiyosaki. A wonderful book. The book is purple. It's got a lot of purple power in it. A lot of purple people out there that are, whose favorite color is purple. So when I talk about the cash flow quadrant, there are 2 sides of it. And before I get into that, it reminds me of a childhood birthday party when I was 13 years old. And the DJ there was a DJ there. My mom hired this DJ, and the kids were on half of the dance floor. The other kids were on the other half of the dance floor, and the whole middle of the dance floor was empty. And the DJ would say, Red Rover, come over, Johnny. Send Johnny over. And the kids were on one side, other kids were on the other side. Some adults were playing because, we don't want to grow up. We want to enjoy life and have fun, right? And the last person to get to the side, who was supposed to tag the other person to pair up with, if that person and the person that was last, if you got there last, you were out of here. And that was Red Rover. And I relate that to the cash flow quadrant because there are the employee and the self-employed on the left side of the quadrant, and the business owner and the investor are on the right side of the quadrant. How many people are rushing over to the right side of the quadrant, the B side of the quadrant? How many people are staying on the A side of the quadrant? They need that DJ. And is that DJ enough to motivate them to go from the A side to the B side of the cash flow quadrant? And are you running over? Can I just say to you, Red Rover, come on over to the other side of the quadrant? But how many people are last, or how many people just don't want to do it because it's just too difficult? And I'll digress and explain to you why Some people just don't go over to the other side of the quadrant. So why dream big? Maybe perhaps you or somebody would like to have a honeymoon. I'm going to put this in front of me so you can see it. Just my wife here in front of the Western Wall in Jerusalem. And we visited that shortly after our honeymoon. And it was a fantastic trip. But if you are like to travel or even go to Athens, Greece, because we got a chance to see somewhere over here, I have a picture. Maybe I'll show it later. Is my wife and I in front of the Parthenon, and maybe you want to dream big, and you want a vehicle to help get you there to dream big, because you have some big dreams inside of you. Or maybe you're thinking this: my job is so sexy. Is your job so sexy? I like my job. I love my job. I mean, if you're like that, and you probably were not even on this speech right now because you listened to the disclaimer, said, I agree, Paul, I'm going to be completely bored. So why are you even here? You heard the disclaimer. Were you even listening? Were you listening to a text or reading an email while listening to the disclaimer and you didn't really hear it? So why dream big? Maybe your dream is to take some golf tees and go golfing on the golf courses of the world. I don't need or want a big raise, or at my job or my business, I make good money. What? What's that? How much is good money? Over the last 3 decades, if I hear one more person say good money, I'm going to go run on the beach for like 5 miles and not stop. I mean, literally, what is good money? So why dream big? Perhaps maybe you have a dream of having a membership at an exclusive country club where they give you one of these nice, beautiful metal license plates that you get to display in the front of your car. That could be your thing. That maybe not be your thing. Or maybe your dream is to go to all the beaches of the world when other people are working. Maybe that's your big dream. But did you know that you are surrounded by millions of people that settled for something less? You are surrounded by millions of people that have settled for something less. Did you know that 95% of your peers, by the time they reach 65, are dead, disabled, or broke? That's 95%. So that means, are we all okay? 4% of us are okay. 1% is very, very rich, and kudos to you, especially the ones that earned it through starting a business from scratch at the bottom. We're not talking to the people that inherited money. But hey, if you inherited money and you really want to make a difference, we are looking for people that really love helping people as well. There's an optional component at the very end of this Dream Big speech. It won't be for today, but leave a comment in my YouTube at omgtalk.com, omgtalk.com. Leave a comment on my YouTube and I'll see it. And then we'll talk about that optional plan to help people dream big. Let's digress a little bit more. Why should we learn the definition of success? And have you ever heard of the definition of success? This is my favorite definition of success, and here it is. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. I'm going to say it again 2 more times because I love it. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. Success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. I hope that sinks in. It took me years to get that to sink in. I had to read books to get that to sink in. I love the book by Earl Nightingale. I love the book by Napoleon Hill. There's other books as well. I'll mention them later as well. But success looks very different through the eyes of a 20-year-old, of a 30-year-old, of a 40-year-old, of a 50-year-old, of a 60-year-old, of a 70-year-old, of an 80-year-old, of a 90-year-old, of a 100-year-old. Success looks different to everybody. What does success look like to you? If you have a piece of paper in front of you, grab one. If you don't have a piece of paper, Find a piece of paper, find a Post-it note, find a letter you got in the mail yesterday, find a letter you got in the mail today, and find a pen and draw a circle on that piece of paper. I'll hold. Inside that circle, draw. This isn't going to be a big project. This is the last part of it. Draw a dollar sign. A dollar sign. It looks like an S with two vertical lines in it. That's an S with two vertical lines in it. That's a dollar sign, right? I have to teach that. Now, put that dollar sign inside that circle you drew. If we were able to put you on the screen right now, who would volunteer to put your circle up on the screen now? I want to see if it's a little circle, a big circle, a medium circle. Is the circle way over here? Is the circle over here? Did you put a whole bunch of circles in there? I'm curious. How big is your circle? And your circle is a complete circle where there are no gaps in it. You can't get through that circle. Nothing can penetrate through that circle because that circle is your income for the rest of your life. How do you feel now if I told you that that circle is your income without a raise? You won't be able to deal with inflation. You have no choice but to live within your means. But they invented this crazy thing that gets people in trouble, and that's called credit cards. And credit cards seems to elevate people artificially outside their circle until they can no longer pay their minimum payments, or they're no longer able to pay the full payment, and they have no choice but to pay their minimum payment. That debt trap is crazy. And later on in our discussion, we have a plan to help with that debt trap as well. But here's the last little project with that circle is you could draw a circle around your circle. And from where your income stops, that circle, to where the end of the next circle is your dream circle. Now that I give you permission to have a dream circle, how many people here actually have a way to make all of your dreams come true? Big dreams, little dreams, small dreams, a new dishwasher, a bigger closet, traveling, some of the things I just mentioned. Here's that picture, by the way, of my wife and I going to Athens, Greece on our honeymoon. If you've never been to the Parthenon, perhaps maybe you ought to go. But don't go on credit cards. Go by setting your dreams. And let me help you get there. I got a program for that. But you have heard of Robert Kiyosaki. You have heard of the cash flow quadrant. I mentioned it earlier with Red Rover. Red Rover said Johnny over. What do those two things have to do with each other? On one side of the quadrant is employee and self-employed. On the other side of the quadrant is business owner and investor. How do we get the people from one side of the quadrant to go to the other side of the quadrant? Because there's more money over there. So that's it. The DJ just had to say, who wants more money? Who wants to win the lottery? Red Rover, send everybody over, Johnny. And everybody runs over, but how many people stay over because they're faced with the 6 curse words that amateur entrepreneurs listen to every single day? So how do you reach out to that dream circle? How do you bust through it? It might be challenging. It's kind of like birthing. There's that breathing and pushing and pushing and pushing and breathing and pushing and breathing and pushing. It's almost stressful. It's a stress activity. I can't do it. It's so challenging. I give up. I'm going to go back to that job. You do know that job stands for just over broke, right? How do you feel about that now? Is that feeling like you? Do you resonate with some of these things? Why dream big? Perhaps maybe the biggest reason to dream big, here's a map to your health. Maybe your health will get better by dreaming big. Have you ever thought that your health can get better by dreaming big? Because if you just sit around and complain and eat bonbons all day long, is that good for your health? Maybe perhaps you should read a book. I got this book here called How Money Works. And that book could help you to dream big as well. But who here understands the concept of who helps an old lady cross the road? Well, a nice person, a mentor, a coach, a gentleman, a mensch, a distinguished Toastmaster, a kind person. But why dream big. And I promise too that I will show you a picture of me and my mom, who passed away in 19 from ovarian cancer, lost her fight to that. And rest in peace, Mom. Her birthday's coming up in heaven on January 12th. Grandma, her mom, was actually buried on her birthday. And I have a picture of me on my mom's lap playing Red Rover, send Johnny over. She was an entrepreneur as well. She was a CPA, a CFP, a certified financial planner, an MBA. But who helps an employee or self-employed person cross the road and wake up on the business owner and investor side? Who helps that? Same kind of people: a coach, a mentor, a kind person, an entrepreneur, a business owner, or business owner who was once an employee, so you could teach by example. Why dream big? Why does it feel good to help somebody? If I could ask you to tell me why it feels good to help somebody, what would you say? Why does it feel good to mentor somebody? If you've mentored somebody, maybe drop a comment as well and tell me why it feels good to help somebody. I see a couple of comments, but they didn't really type anything. This guy over here, I can't even understand what that says. So maybe it's just somebody from another country and their keyboard's not the same the way our keyboard is. Okay, but thank you for commenting as well. So why does it feel good to actually educate people about dreaming big? Well, for one thing, 95% of 100 people in your phone today, by the time they get to 65, somehow end up being dead, disabled, or broke. And we know exactly why that happens. Too many people are living paycheck to paycheck. Too many people have too much month at the end of their paycheck. And that could be some serious business, because you know how that feels at the end of the month when you don't have anything left over and you've went over, and then you're into the danger zone, which is the credit card zone. So who will teach you if I don't? What will happen if you don't listen to the rest of this speech that I will be giving for 365 days, a speech for the next 365 days, 365 speeches? Why don't people dream big? I'll tell you why people don't dream big. Let's call it TikTok. That's a big time waster. It could be. How many people there are using TikTok for productivity? Or is it just, like watching television? Just time just zaps away. So TikTok and TV and Netflix binging, other time zappers. We only have 160 hours, 80 hours a week, 168 hours a week, 168 hours a week, 45 years. Are you tired yet? I'm just tired giving this speech. But really, I'm not tired. I think that the information in this speech has to get out there to the public so that we can be awake. And if you listen to this for the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the 365th time will be imperative. But does sick precede tired for you? Tired is one of those 6 curse words from amateur entrepreneurs we talked about earlier. But does sick precede tired for you? What do I mean by that? If you ever caught yourself saying, I am sick and tired of blank. I am sick and tired of blank. I am sick and tired of blank. I am sick and tired of a boss. I am sick and tired of not getting a raise. I'm sick and tired of being broke. I'm sick and tired of falling short of my dream circle every month after month, only living within my means, which is a good thing, to live below your means so you don't fall into the credit card trap. But why dream big? Why don't more people do this? Let me give you 6 things of why people don't dream big. Fear. Let me just give you the definition of fear so we can get that over with. False evidence appearing real. And then the next part of that, forget everything and run. And if that doesn't resonate with you, read the book Think and Grow Rich by Dr. Napoleon Hill from 1937. And in there, he tells you how to conquer all of your fears. There's about 7 of them. Number 2, lack of capital, not having enough money. Number 3, or number 4, lack of knowledge, lack of education, lack of confidence, which Toastmasters can do for each and every one of you at a very economical cost. And Toastmasters will help every one of you become confident entrepreneurs. I guarantee it. If you have the teachings of three men, Ralph Smedley, Napoleon Hill, and Dale Carnegie, you do amazing in business. Why dream big? Here's a few books. I think it's 4 books I listed over here. Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, How to Be Rich by J. Paul Getty, Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz, and Think and Go Big by Dr. Napoleon Hill. But when you are ready to get your dream circle, you will be ready to dream big. When you are ready to get your dream circle, you'll be ready to dream big. How important is having a dream circle to you? Not many people it's important to, because 95% are dead, disabled, or broke by the time they get 65, and you wonder why they have to rely on a Social Security check. Now, your income circle is falling short of your dream circle, and you want more. You're ready to dream big. And consider the fact that dreaming big could be an improvement for your health. I have one last thought that I want to leave you with, and I promised I would show you that picture. It's on my desk over here somewhere. I'm just getting to it. I'm unburying that picture after all those props I was sharing with you. Oh, here it is. When you're ready to dream big, you are definitely a champion, no matter who you are, whether you're a dream big, when you dream big or you don't dream big, you are still a champion. You were born a champion. Champions make decisions, and decisions make champions. I promised that at the end of this talk, I would show you that picture of my mom, passed away from ovarian cancer, playing that game. Red Rover, come on over to the business owner and investor side instead of staying on the side for the employee or the self-employed person. You're one of those. We could definitely help you, and there are plenty of reasons to dream big. I'm Paul Finkelstein with Why Dream Big. I hope you come back tomorrow and we'll talk about this same speech. Why Dream Big? 365 speeches in the next 365 days. Thanks so much for joining with you. And by the way, I'm just going to put up on the screen, Don't Be Bruce. Let me tell you a little bit about Don't Be Bruce. It's not you, Bruce, or maybe it is you, Bruce. There's only one Bruce in the entire world. It's not Bruce Springsteen. It's not Bruce Lasseter. It's not Bruce Aleo. It's a different Bruce. And that Bruce, he proposed on the first date. It was an embarrassing situation. And if more business owners and entrepreneurs did not do what Bruce did on the first date, more business owners and professionals would be more courteous and kind and professional and nice to each other than there are today. There's just some that just don't want to give people the time of day. Sometimes we just have to learn by peeing on an electric fence. So on that note, go check out the little short story of Bruce and little proof about what I did when I met my wife on an online date. It's been over 26 years. We work at it every day. Check out omgtalk.com. That's omgtalk.com, and scroll down and see why I highly recommend you not be Bruce. And on that note, I think I have a guy named Tony that wants to get in the last word. So Tony, here it is. Maybe also a little quick blurb for my wife as well with Your Medicare Lady. Between Tony and Your Medicare Lady, take the last words.
It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive the free ebook written by YourMedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
Thank you so much, YourMedicareLady.com, for letting me be your assistant. And Tony from TRC Voiceovers, not AI, a real voiceover guy. That's a hell of a guy. And if you need a real voiceover king, here he is, Tony.
You have been listening to the OMG Podcast with Paul Finkelstein. We can help you build wealth without hogging your time. Schedule a one-on-one with us. Thanks for listening. Join us again for another OMG podcast segment.